Let's get right into this explainer. Today, we're tracing the absolutely fascinating evolution of family therapy. We're going to start all the way down in the deep, unconscious roots of early psychoanalysis, and step by step, we'll build our way up to a highly practical, modern blueprint for healthy relationships. So if you've ever wondered how therapists untangle the messy, complex web of family dynamics to build solid connections, well, you are definitely in the right place. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The roots of family counseling. 2. Mapping multi-generational patterns. 3. Family structure and stances. 4. Rewriting the family narrative. And 5. The sound relationship house.
Section 1. The Roots of Family Counseling, Uncovering the Unconscious. Okay, so while Sigmund Freud never directly worked with families, his ideas about our unconscious emotional depths became the absolute bedrock for what we call object relations family counseling. Modern pioneers of this method, like Dr. David and Jill Scharf, realized something crucial. You can't just fix a family's behavioral problems on the surface. The very first step to healing is the creation of a safe, emotional holding space. By maintaining this space, counselors can track feelings, spot resistance, and really observe how family members unconsciously affect each other. To make this incredibly real, let's look at a session documented by the Scharfs. A father named Adrian brings in his 32-year-old daughter, Pam. Now, on the surface, the presenting problem is so mundane. Pam doesn't do her chores around the house. She's uncooperative. But by tracking the troubled emotional undercurrents in that holding space, actually scratch that, the therapists quickly realize it isn't about the chores at all. It's about the completely unaddressed, unmourned suicide of Pam's younger brother, Vic, a full decade earlier. Unlocking this kind of heavy, buried trauma requires counselors to follow 3 distinct steps. In Pam's case, Victor's loss was so monumental that the whole family was just stuck in time. To get past it, they had to use that holding space to finally talk about the loss, work through their intense emotional resistance, cry together, and eventually visit the grave as a united front. Section 2. Mapping multi-generational patterns, the family tree. Now that we've dug into the unconscious emotional roots, how do therapists actually map these inherited family traumas over time? Well, Bowenian therapists use an incredible tool called a gynogram. Think of this as a historical, psychological map. It collects critical data over at least 3 generations to identify major turning points and the emotional flow in a family's timeline. It quite literally helps us see exactly what we inherit from our past. Take the Quest family, for example. When you map out a real family like this, you can instantly trace their structure. You see the historical marriages, the years of deaths, and you can even track very specific multi-generational issues. When you spot shaded areas representing a problem with alcohol, it allows the therapist and the family to visually see these patterns of behavior cascading right down the generations. It's a real game changer for gaining perspective. Section 3. Family structure and stances, positions, and roles. With our multi-generational map in hand, we can zoom in to examine the immediate architecture of the household. Structural theorists like Harry Aponte operate on a very specific, powerful premise. If you want to change an individual's negative behavior, you absolutely must first transform the overall organizational structure of their family group. Why? Because the way a family organizes itself under stress directly dictates how the individual feels. Let's look at how this structure plays out under extreme stress. Imagine a terrified 17-year-old coming home to tell her parents she's pregnant. She knows it's going to blow up, so she rushes into the kitchen and just blurts it out before she loses her nerve. The structural response of the parents in that exact high-stakes moment, how they organize their reaction to that stress, will completely define that teenager's experience of the crisis. And when a family's structure breaks down under that kind of intense pressure, you see dysfunctional coping mechanisms pop up. Take the irrelevant stance, for instance. This is where a person literally crosses out the self, the context, and others. They are denying or completely distorting reality just to reduce the immediate pain. It's not just a bad reaction, it's a total structural collapse. Section 4. Rewriting the family narrative. Naming the problem. Moving past that structural dysfunction, we tap into narrative therapy, championed by folks like Michael White and Steve Madigan. They suggest something really profound. The person is not the problem is the problem. To rewrite a toxic family narrative, you have to externalize it. You name the struggle, you dig up historical evidence where the client actually defeated it, you speculate about a positive future, and crucially, you find an audience to witness this new, empowered story. We see this beautifully illustrated in the case of a young guy named Ollie.
The therapist helped Ollie completely reauthor his narrative. They built this good boy alternative story by highlighting cold, hard evidence. Ollie gets good grades, he doesn't disrespect people, he's great at sports. But the real magic? The therapist sent a counter-referral letter to Ollie's school to officially announce this good boy reputation. He actively recruited an audience to cement the new narrative. Pretty brilliant, right?
Section 5. The Sound Relationship House. Building the Ultimate Structure.
Okay, let's bring all of these historical building blocks together for our Chapter 15 overview. We've tracked deep emotions, we've mapped family trees, checked structural stances, rewritten narratives. All of this leads us to the ultimate architectural framework for couples. This is the work of John and Julie Gottman. Their data-driven model proves that a deeply peaceful relationship relies on building a profound, everyday friendship. It means knowing your partner intimately, right down to their smallest quirks, dislikes, and hopes.
This builds directly into the famous Sound Relationship House. This is a literal step-by-step psychological blueprint for a resilient partnership. Just like a real house, it has weight-bearing walls, which are trust and commitment, and multiple floors that you have to build from the ground up to reach the very top where you make life dreams come true. You can't just start at the roof. So the absolutely critical takeaway from Chapter 15 is that before you can manage conflict, you have got to master the bottom 3 floors. This is your friendship foundation. First, build love maps. You need to intimately chart your partner's inner world. Second, share fondness and admiration actively. And third, turn towards instead of away. That means enthusiastically engaging with your partner's everyday, mundane bids for connection. You literally cannot skip these foundational steps if you want the house to stand. As we wrap up this explainer, seeing how the theories of counseling have evolved all the way to this incredibly practical relationship house, I want to leave you with a challenge. Look at your own foundations. If you drew out your own family genogram today, what hidden patterns would you see cascading down? And when you look at the Sound Relationship House, what actionable steps are you going to take to start renovating your own relationships right now? Think about that and keep building.